Have you ever noticed how silence can feel louder than words? Not the awkward kind, but the kind that speaks straight into your soul. In a small mountain monastery, far from the noise of the world, a young monk took a vow. Not of prayer, not of service, but of silence. For 1,000 days, he would not utter a single word. No greetings, no complaints, no defense. His teacher said, "Only in silence will you learn the voice of your own mind." At first he thought it would be peaceful, but he soon discovered the silence screamed. Every unspoken thought became a roar inside him. Anger, boredom, memories he had buried beneath years of distraction. Without the armor of speech, he stood naked before his emotions. A senior monk once whispered to him, "Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of self." He began to notice the subtle urges, the impulse to respond, to defend, to interrupt. But he didn't. And each time he chose not to react, he became a little stronger. It wasn't weakness, it was power, refined in stillness. The monastery was not without conflict. Another monk, threatened by his composure, tried to provoke him, insulted him, stole his food, blocked his path. The young monk met each act with the same answer: stillness. No expression, no retaliation, no victory claimed. And yet, over time, the tormentor changed. Not because he was shamed, but because he was heard. The silence had reflected his own noise back at him. Sometimes to transform a world, you must first absorb it without echo. What happens when we stop reacting to every stimulus around us? We reclaim the space between stimulus and response, the space where freedom lives. The monk began to feel emotions arise like clouds. He saw them, named them, and let them drift by. He learned to feel is human, but to be consumed is a choice. In his silence, he became the mountain, unmoved by wind, unmoved by storm, yet alive with presence. True strength, he realized, is quiet. It doesn't need to prove itself. Years passed. The monk's vow came to an end. He was invited to speak. The entire monastery gathered. Dozens waited to hear his first words. He stood, breathed in deeply, and said, "There is nothing I can say that silence didn't already teach me." Then he bowed and returned to the garden. What needed to be heard was never in his voice. It was in his being. Silence had become his teacher, his protector, his mirror. Today we live surrounded by noise, headlines, arguments, opinions. But the loudest answers aren't always shouted. When someone provokes you, pause. When life becomes chaos, breathe. When you're unsure what to do, be still. Not every storm needs a response, because sometimes the strongest message you can send is no message at all. And in that silence, you'll hear something louder than words. Yourself.